Hey, Miss Marion here. We're going to go ahead and do Unit 5, Lesson 5. Go ahead and turn to page 187. Read the I can statement for Lesson 5. I can explain the story told by a graph of a function. Go ahead and give yourself a sentence. How you feel about that? And then also numbers. 1, I don't remember. 2, I kind of remember it. 3, I do remember it. And then 4, I can teach it to my friend. So again, today we're going to be describing stuff. We're going to talk about increasing and decreasing. We're going to talk about inputs and outputs, and then also how the functions go along with it. All right, let's go ahead and turn to page 41, and we have these 4 graphs, and you are going to answer the question, which one doesn't belong? And again, you need an explanation of why it doesn't belong. So pause, answer that question, and then come back to me. All right, so there's many different ways we can say as far as which one doesn't belong. We can say that D doesn't belong because it's just dots. It's not a line. All the other stuff have kind of line stuff go along with it. We can say that A doesn't belong because it's the only graph that touches the horizontal axis. We can say that B doesn't belong because it's the only one that touches the vertical axis. And so we can kind of go through all of them if we want to. C doesn't belong because it's straight kind of edges kind of stuff. So however you want that. But anyways, getting us thinking about graphs and how to kind of interpret them. Okay, let's go ahead and turn to page 42. We have this graph. The graph shows the temperature between noon and midday in one day in a certain city. Okay, so just a city. We're talking about the temperatures shown. And go ahead and work through numbers 1 through 6. It starts answering the questions, and then we're going to go ahead and go through them ourselves. So pause, go ahead and do them, and then go ahead and come back to me. All right, so let's go ahead and go through the answers. So number 1, was it warmer at 3 p.m. or was it warmer at 9 p.m.? So if we look at it, and these are the time hours in the afternoon. And so if we look at 3 p.m., we're kind of here. 9 p.m., we're kind of up here, right? So which one is warmer? It would be 9 o'clock p.m. Number 2, approximate when the temperature is the highest. So let's kind of see that highest peak. So that's this one up here, right? So again, we're estimating. So where could that be as far as where the highest time frame it could be? Looking down, so we kind of have to look down and see what time it would be. Let's say it's about 5:45 p.m. Number 3, find another time that the temperature was the same when it was 4 p.m. I want to change my color so we can kind of look at different things. So 4 p.m., it's here. So we're kind of looking at that same amount, and that's kind of same over here in a way. So we can kind of say, oh yeah, the same temperature at 4. Well, we can say that that's about 8 p.m. All right, number 4, did the temperature change more between 1 and 3 or between 3 and 5? So between 1 and 3, so 1, let's change our color again. So 1, it kind of starts here. 3 kind of goes up here. So it kind of starts about 50.5 and goes up to about 54.5. So we're going to kind of see that's a change about like 4. And then 3 to 5. So 3's here, 5 is there. So it kind of starts at 54.5, goes up to about 58. So which one does the temperature kind of change as far as which one is greater? That would be between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock. All right, looking at it further, I'm going to go ahead and erase all this kind of stuff. We have a lot of stuff going on, so let's erase it. And so number 5, does this graph show that temperature is a function of time, or is time a function of temperature? So looking at this, we can kind of do it. Remember, our independent, it is on our x-axis. Dependent is on the y-axis. So if we're answering this, it is temperature is a function of time. So it's kind of like temperature depends on time. So temperature is a function of time. And then question number 6, when the input for the function is 8, what is the output? And what does this tell you about the time and temperature? So when the input would be 8 o'clock, right? So input is 8. And what is that? Well, that's the output would be 57 degrees. So what does this mean? At 8 p.m., so 8 o'clock p.m., our temperature is 57 degrees. All right, let's go ahead and turn to page 43. And we are looking at this picture, and it's the graph shows the amount of garbage produced in the U.S. each year between 1991 and 2003. Before we go ahead and start, let's look at it. We're looking at years. So down here we have years, right? Here we have garbage, okay? And it's garbage in thousands of tons. And so we want to go ahead and ask, does the graph show the amount of garbage produced as a function of time? Or is time as a function of the garbage produced? So again, down on the bottom is our independent variable. So then it will make it that garbage is a function of the time or the year, okay? So kind of keep that in mind while we go ahead and answer the questions about the garbages and then the amount of per tons. So go ahead and go through A through C, pause and answer those questions, and then come back to me. All right, so looking at 1999 and 2000. So we're looking at kind of in this area to 2000, so here to here. Did this increase or did it decrease? And if we're looking at it, if we're reading it from left to right, this is an increase. All right, let's look at B. Did the amount of garbage increase or decrease between 2005 and 2009? So let's go ahead and look at it. 2005 is kind of here. 2009 is about here. So did that increase or did it decrease? And kind of looking at it, so kind of starting here, and then it kind of goes downward, right? If we're looking at the graph. So this is a decrease. All right, and then letter C. Between 1991 and 1995, the garbage increased for 4 years, and then it decreased in the 4th year. Describe how the amount of garbage changed in the years between 1995 and 2000. So 1995, going ahead and with the 2000. So the amount of garbage decreased for 1 year. So if we look at it, we went decreased for 1 year, and then it increased for 4 years in a row. So that's kind of interpreting and understanding the graph and what it means. So this activity, we're looking at increasing and decreasing. So is it going up the hill or is it going down the hill as far as reading it? And notice how this graph, it kind of goes up and down all the time. It's not a straight linear line. It actually goes up and then it goes down and then it goes up again and maybe some more down. So this is actually just kind of interpreting, understanding what's going on. All right, let's go ahead and turn to page 44 to 45. Number 2, the graph shows the percentage of the garbage that was recycled between 1991 and 2013. So go ahead and answer the questions A, B, and C. So when is it increasing? When is it decreasing? Tell a story of the change in the percentage of garbage recycled in the U.S. over the time period. So again, unpause again, and then go ahead and come back to me. All right, let's go ahead and look at this. We're looking at the amount as far as increasing. So we're kind of reading from left to right as how we read it. So we're going to increase. So where did it increase? Kind of starting at it, looking where it's going to go ahead. So it's going to go ahead and start pretty much around like 1991, going all the way up to about 1996. Anywhere else it goes ahead and increases. Well, if we look at it, we kind of have it from starting about this area, right? And then we're going to go ahead and go all the way up here. So let's say probably 1998 all the way up into 2011. So this is where it's increasing. Let's look at and figure out the decreasing part. Decreasing, reading from left to right, starts at 1996, kind of goes up to about 1998. And then where is it decreasing again? Let's start at 2011, going up to 2013. So again, we're just looking at things as far as increasing and decreasing as far as the graph itself. So again, we read it from left to right. So is it going up the hill or is it going down the hill? So you might have a different story. Everyone might have a different story for this. So my story is the percentage of garbage recycled generally increases from 1991 until a peak of 2011 and then begins to decrease. There's a brief period of decrease from 1996 to 1998 and from 2007 to 2008. So what you're doing is we are looking at kind of the story or explain what's going along as far as the graph itself. So on page 45, we're going to look at Are You Ready for More? And this actually goes to the original graph about the garbage from 1991 to 2013. And we are looking at not the percentage, but it's actually in the tons. And so we're going to answer the questions 1, 2, and 3. So go ahead and read through those. So pause and read through those, and then go ahead and come back to me. All right, let's look at it. Number 1, it says find a year when the amount of garbage produced from the previous year, but not as much, it increased from the following year. So kind of looking at this, where would that actually happen? So we have it where it is that it produced amount of garbage that produced it for the year, but it does not as much as an increase from the following year. So personally, I would look at this and I'm like, okay, so it's kind of in this area as far as what it works. So that'll be about 2003. Number 2, find a year where the amount of garbage produced increases from the previous year and then decreases by a smaller amount the following year. So we're having it as increase from the previous year, increases smaller by the following year. Okay, looking at those, where did that actually happen? That kind of happens in like this area. So where is that? 1997. And then looking at number 3, it says find a year where the amount of garbage produced decreases from the previous year, but not as much as it decreases from the following year. Where does this actually happen? This happens at 2008. And then unfortunately, I actually didn't have number 4 on here. So if we're looking at it, number 4 says find a year where the amount of garbage produced decreases from the previous year and then decreases by a smaller amount the following year. And where would that actually be? So number 4, where would that actually go ahead and happen? Well, that's kind of happen in like this area. So number 4, that would be around 1995. So again, we're just kind of looking at graphs. We're looking at the stories of the graphs itself. We can kind of see what's going on with the information. We were looking at temperatures as far as in a city, as far as time. We were looking at garbage in tons. And then we're also looking at the percentage of itself. And then we're also looking to figure out the increasing and decreasing part of this stuff. So here are the graphs that we were looking at, right? And we're understanding the differences between them. We're looking at garbage production. We can see them as dots. We can see them as lines. They actually help us understand graphs. So go ahead and go back to page 186. Read the lesson plan for the icon statement for lesson 5. I can explain the story told by the graph of a function. Give yourself a sentence and how you feel about that. And then also give yourself a number. So 1, I'm still confused. 2, I kind of got it. 3, I did get it. And then 4, I can teach it to my friend. So this is for today. We are doing the practice problems for today, so make sure you get those done. And I hope you have a good day. Bye.